Ji-hoon is not as innocent as you think! You will see for yourself! You will see!
Chidinma's scream pierced through the Seoul hotel suite at 3 a.m. as strange hands grabbed her from behind. Ji-hoon bolted upright from the adjacent bedroom, his instincts from years in Seoul's underworld kicking in instantly. But when he burst through the door, heart pounding and ready for violence, he found Chidinma clutching little Ngozi, who'd had another nightmare, both of them trembling on the floor. Just a bad dream. Just paranoia from that threatening package they'd received a week ago. Just the reality of their new life, where Shadams had eyes, and every sound felt like danger. Welcome back, everyone! Oh my goodness, the love you showed part 1 was absolutely overwhelming. Over 4,000 of you watched Chidinma and Ji-hoon's story, and I read every single comment. A beautiful soul said the narration in my story is the first one with actual inflection, and that made my entire week. A lot of comments made my day, but here's the thing. Only about 2% of you are subscribed. If you loved part 1, please hit that subscribe button because part 2 is about to get wild and you don't want to miss what happens next. And before we dive in, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Seeing viewers from the United Kingdom to Korea to the States makes my heart so full. Okay, let's get into it. The move to Seoul had happened faster than Chidinma expected. Within 2 weeks of accepting Ji-hoon's proposal, she found herself in a luxury penthouse overlooking the Han River with her 3 children, her mother Adane, who had insisted on coming despite her concerns about leaving Lagos, and a life that felt like a beautiful dream layered over a nightmare. The penthouse was stunning, all floor-to-ceiling windows and modern furniture that her children somehow hadn't destroyed yet. But beauty couldn't erase the fear that had settled in Chidinma's chest since that package arrived. "Mama, why are you crying?" Amika asked the next morning, her serious 3-year-old eyes studying Chidinma's face as they sat at the breakfast table. Ji-hoon had already left for an early business meeting, and the house felt too big. Too quiet, despite the children's chatter. "I'm not crying, baby," Chidinma said, forcing a smile and wiping at eyes she hadn't realized were wet. "Mama's just tired." "You miss Lagos," her mother said from across the table, her tone making it clear this wasn't a question. Adane had been quiet since they'd arrived in Seoul, her usual warmth replaced by watchful concern. "You miss home." "This is home now," Chidinma replied, but the words felt hollow. Lagos was home, that small house with its faulty wiring, which the fire inspector had confirmed was purely accidental, nothing sinister despite what some of you in the comments suspected. That had been home. This gorgeous penthouse felt like a gilded cage, beautiful but temporary, as if at any moment someone might snatch it all away. The someone in question was Kang Sung-ho, though Chidinma had never actually met the man. All she knew was what Ji-hoon had told her. Business rival. Old grudge. Nothing to worry about. But that package with 3 years of surveillance photos said otherwise. That note, "He took everything from me. Now I'll take everything from him," said otherwise. And Ji-hoon's increasingly long absences, his secretive phone calls, his assurances that he was handling it, said most of all that she should definitely be worried. If you're already feeling the tension, go ahead and hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds and helps this channel grow so much. And seriously, subscribe if you haven't. We're building something special here and I want you to be part of it. 3 weeks into their Seoul life, Chidinma took the children to a nearby park. Her mother had been feeling unwell, the Seoul air didn't agree with her, so Chidinma went alone. Grateful for the normalcy of watching Chidi and Ngozi chase pigeons, while Amaka sat beside her drawing in a notebook with the intense concentration she'd inherited from her father. The autumn air was crisp, so different from Lagos's humidity, and for a moment, Chidinma let herself relax. "Excuse me," a voice said in Korean, then switching to English when Chidinma looked up confused. "Sorry, your children, they're beautiful." The man standing before her was Korean, maybe mid-30s, handsome in an understated way, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. He wore casual clothes, jeans and a sweater, and held a coffee cup like he'd just been passing by. Something about him felt familiar, but Chidinma couldn't place it. "Thank you," she said carefully, pulling Amaka a little closer. "I'm sorry. This is going to sound strange, but how old are they, your children?" Chidinma's protective instincts flared. "Why do you want to know?" The man's face did something complicated. Surprise, recognition, pain, all mixed together. "Because 3.5 years ago, I was in Lagos for work, and I met a woman at a hotel bar. We spent one night together, and then she was gone the next morning. I never got her name, never saw her again. But you," he stared at Chidinma with an intensity that made her skin crawl, "you look exactly like her." The world tilted sideways. Chidinma stood up so fast, Amaka yelped in surprise. "I don't know what you're talking about. I've never met you." "Haven't you?" The voice was soft, sad, not aggressive. That made it worse somehow. "But those children..." His gaze moved to where Chidi and Ngozi were playing, his expression doing something that looked heartbreakingly like recognition. "They have my mother's eyes, the exact same shape." "You're insane," Chidinma said, grabbing Amaka's hand and calling for the boys. "Stay away from my family." "I'm not trying to cause trouble," the man said quickly, pulling out a business card. "My name is Park Dae-jong. I'm not a bad person, I swear. If there's even a chance they're mine, don't I have a right to know? Don't they have a right to know their real father?" Chidinma snatched the card only to throw it on the ground. "Their real father is Kang Ji-hoon. Now leave us alone or I'm calling security." She gathered her children and practically ran from the park, heart pounding, mind racing. That man was crazy. She'd never been to a hotel bar in Lagos. She'd never had a one-night stand with a stranger. The only man she'd been with was Ji-hoon, and that had been in Seoul, not Lagos. This was ridiculous. Wait. 3.5 years ago, right around when she would have gotten pregnant, and she had been in Lagos briefly for a wedding before that final night with Ji-hoon, and there was a hotel, and she had gone to the bar alone because her brother was late meeting her, and no, she hadn't met anyone. She'd had 2 drinks and left, she remembered. Didn't she? Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this man telling the truth? Drop a comment with your theory because I'm dying to know what you all think. And if you're stressed already, imagine how Chidinma feels. She didn't tell Ji-hoon about the encounter immediately. She told herself it was because he'd been so stressed lately, constantly on his phone, coming home late, the tension in his shoulders visible even when he smiled at the children. She told herself it was because there was nothing to tell, just a crazy man with delusions. She told herself it wasn't because some tiny, terrible part of her brain was doing math, counting backwards, wondering about timing, and memories, and whether soju could make you forget things. But 3 days later, Park Dae-jong showed up at the penthouse lobby. The concierge called up. "Mrs. Kang, there's a gentleman here asking to see you. He says it's urgent and personal." Chidinma's blood ran cold. "Tell him I'm not available. He said to tell you he has photographs from Lagos, from the Imperial Hotel bar." Her hands started shaking. The Imperial Hotel. That was where she'd stayed for her cousin's wedding, where she'd gone to the bar, where she'd had those drinks while waiting for Obi. "Send him away." "He says he'll leave the photographs with me to give to you. He says you'll want to see them before your fiancé does." The threat was clear. Chidinma closed her eyes, hating herself for what she was about to do. Send him up. Park Dae-jong looked different in the bright penthouse lighting. Older, more tired, but still with that same sad gentleness that made him seem harmless. That was probably why Chidinma let him in, why she listened as he spread photographs on her coffee table while her children napped and her mother was resting. The photo showed a woman who looked exactly like her, same hairstyle she'd worn back then, same dress she remembered wearing to that hotel bar, sitting with a man whose back was to the camera, Park Dae-jong presumably. They were laughing, leaning close, looking intimate. "I don't remember this," Chidinma whispered. You had 5 drinks, Daejong said quietly. I counted because I was worried about you. You said you were waiting for someone who never showed up. You were crying about a man who didn't love you. We talked for hours. And then he cleared his chest. You asked me to come upstairs. I should have said no. You were drunk, but I was lonely and you were beautiful, and I thought maybe we were both just sad people finding comfort. I never thought, this isn't real, Chidinma said, but her voice shook because she didn't remember 5 drinks. She remembered 2. She didn't remember crying to a stranger. She didn't remember anything after... Oh God, there was a gap, a blank space in her memory where the rest of that night should be. I hired an investigator after I saw you in the park, Daejong continued. I know you're engaged to Kang Ji-hoon. I know you've told him he's the father. Maybe you really believe that. But the timing, Chidinma, the timing fits. That night in Lagos was 9 months before those children were born. Get out, Chidinma said, but there was no strength in it. I don't want to destroy your life, Daejong said, standing. I'm not a bad person. I have a good job, a stable life. If those children are mine, I just want to know them. I'll sign any legal agreement you want. I won't interfere. But don't I have a right to know? Don't they? He left before Chidinma could respond, left her sitting on the couch, staring at photographs that proved nothing except that she'd been in a bar with a man she didn't remember. It didn't mean anything happened. It didn't mean... Who was that? Chidinma's head snapped up. Ji-hoon stood in the doorway, home early, his expression unreadable as he looked at the photographs spread across the table. Okay, pause. How many of you are stressed right now? Because this is where everything gets complicated. If you're feeling it, hit that like button and leave a comment. Seriously, your engagement helps so much. And I love reading what you think is going to happen. It's nothing, Chidinma said quickly, gathering the photos. Just someone who's confused. But Ji-hoon had already crossed the room, had already taken one of the photographs from her hands. His face did something terrible, something cold and closed and familiar from the old days when he'd kept her at arm's length. Who is he? No one! Ji-hoon, I swear I don't know him. He claims we met 3 years ago in Lagos, but I don't remember anything like that. He's lying. He has to be lying. Why would he lie? Ji-hoon's voice was so calm it scared her. What does he want? Chidinma's throat closed. She couldn't say it, couldn't voice the horrible accusation. But Ji-hoon was smart. He'd always been too smart. And she watched his eyes move from the photographs to the date stamp on them to the mental math he was doing. He thinks they're his, Ji-hoon said flatly. He thinks Amaka, Chidi, and Ngozi are his children. They're not! Chidinma's voice broke. Ji-hoon, I swear to God, I've never been with anyone else. Just you. Only you. But you don't remember that night, Ji-hoon said, and it wasn't a question. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. Chidinma wanted him to yell, to accuse, to get angry, anything but this terrible calm. There's nothing to remember. I had 2 drinks and went to my room, alone. He says 5 drinks. He's lying. Is he? Ji-hoon set the photograph down carefully, precisely, because you told me you'd never been with anyone before me. You told me I was your first. I was! You are! This is exactly what he wants, to make you doubt me, to destroy us. Can't you see that? What I see, Ji-hoon said slowly, is photographs of my fiancé with another man 9 months before she had children she claims are mine. What I see is a gap in your memory that's very convenient. What I see are 3 children who... He stopped, jaw clenching. Who what? Chidinma demanded. Say it, Ji-hoon. What were you going to say? His eyes met hers, and the doubt in them broke something in her chest. Who don't look like me? Amaka has your features, your skin tone. The boys are lighter, yes, but they could pass for fully Nigerian. If you stood them next to me, would anyone guess I'm their father? You're Korean, Chidinma said incredulously. They're half Korean. Of course they look different from you. Park Dae-jung is also Korean. The implication hung in the air like poison. Chidinma felt something inside her shatter. You actually doubt me? After everything we've been through, after I gave up my life in Lagos, after I brought our children here to be with you, you actually think I cheated on you? I don't know what to think, Ji-hoon said, and the honesty in his voice was worse than any accusation. All I know is there are photographs and a man who seems very certain and a night you can't remember. All I know is that I was impotent for 5 years, and then suddenly one night with you, I wasn't. What if it wasn't me? What if it was never really me? It was you! Chidinma was shouting now, not caring if she woke the children or her mother. That night in your mansion was real! What we had was real! Are you seriously going to throw that away because some stranger shows up with photographs and a story? I'm not throwing anything away, Ji-hoon said, but he was backing toward the door. I just need time to think. He looked at her, and the pain in his eyes mirrored hers. I need to know for sure. Then we do a DNA test, Chidinma said immediately. Right now, today. We prove Park Dae-jung is lying and we move on with our lives. But Ji-hoon was already shaking his head. If we do a test and it comes back showing I'm not the father, what then? I've already bonded with them. I already love them. How do I walk away from that? How do I look at them knowing they're not mine? They are yours, Chidinma insisted. Ji-hoon, please. I need time, he repeated, and then he was gone, leaving Chidinma standing in the middle of their beautiful penthouse, feeling like her world was ending all over again. Comment below if you think they should do the DNA test immediately, or if Ji-hoon is right to be scared. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Part 3 is coming, and you'll want to be notified. The next 2 weeks were torture. Ji-hoon moved into a hotel, temporary, he said, just until he could think clearly. He still came by every day to see the children, still played with them and read them bedtime stories, but there was a distance now, a hesitation. Chidinma watched him study their faces when he thought no one was looking, watched him compare their features to his own, watched doubt eat away at the certainty they'd rebuilt so carefully. Her mother noticed, of course. What happened, Adane demanded one night, after Ji-hoon had left earlier than usual. Why is he staying at a hotel? Did you two fight? Chidinma couldn't tell her, couldn't voice the horrible possibility that her children might not be Ji-hoon's, that there might be a night she didn't remember, that everything they'd built was based on a lie. Instead, she said, It's complicated, Mama. Work stress. Her mother said, the sound making it clear she didn't believe that for a second. That man loves you, but love built on secrets doesn't last. Whatever you're hiding, tell him before it's too late. But Chidinma wasn't hiding anything. That was the problem. She couldn't defend herself against accusations of something she didn't remember doing. Park Dae-jun called twice more, each time gentle and apologetic, each time insisting he just wanted to know the truth. We can do a private test, he suggested, just you and me. If I'm not the father, I'll disappear from your lives forever. If I am, we figure it out together. No courts, no drama. They're not yours, Chidinma told him the second time he called. But fine, we'll do your test. We'll prove you wrong, and then you'll leave us alone. She didn't tell Ji-hoon. She scheduled the DNA test for a day when he was supposed to be traveling for business, took all 3 children to a private clinic, and provided samples. The doctor said results would take a week. 7 days to prove her truth. 7 days to save her family. But secrets in Seoul have a way of spreading, especially when someone wants them to. 3 days after the test, Ji-hoon showed up at the penthouse, and the look on his face made Chidinma's blood run cold. You did a DNA test with Park Dae-jun without telling me. How did you really think you could do something like that in my city without me finding out? Ji-hoon's voice was sharp now, the dangerous edge she remembered from when they'd first met. I have people everywhere, Chidinma. The clinic called me the moment you left. They thought I should know my fiancé was testing my children's paternity with another man. Our children, Chidinma corrected desperately. And I did it to prove he's lying, to prove to you that you're their father. By going behind my back? Ji-hoon laughed, bitter and harsh. If you were so sure, why not include me? Why not do this together? Because you wouldn't do it, Chidinma shot back. You said you were too scared of the results. So I took the choice away. In 4 more days, we'll have proof, and this nightmare will be over. Will it? Ji-hoon moved closer. And for the first time since they'd reunited, Chidinma felt almost afraid of him. Because here's what I've been thinking about these past 2 weeks. I've been thinking about how convenient it is that you can't remember that night. I've been thinking about how you disappeared from Seoul without a word. I've been thinking about how you kept those children hidden from me for 3 years. What if you knew all along they weren't mine? What if you only came back because you needed money, stability, a father for children who didn't have one? The accusation was so unfair, so cruel, that Chidinma couldn't breathe. You know that's not true. You know I love you. Do I? Or do you love what I can provide? This penthouse, the security, the life I'm offering you and those children, whether they're mine or not. Get out, Chidinma whispered. Gladly, Ji-hoon said. Call me when the test results arrive. Until then, I think we both need space to reconsider whether this is really what we want. He left, and this time it felt permanent. Chidinma sank onto the couch, her mother's words echoing in her head. Love built on secrets doesn't last. But she wasn't keeping secrets. She was fighting for truth against lies she didn't understand. If you're feeling Chidinma's heartbreak right now, please leave a comment showing her some love. And hit subscribe. I promise you don't want to miss what happens next. The 4 days until the DNA results felt like 4 years. Chidinma barely slept, barely ate, just went through the motions of caring for her children while her mind spiraled. Amaka asked about Ji-hoon constantly. When is Daddy coming home? She'd ask, her serious little face so much like his that it physically hurt to look at her. Soon, baby, Chidinma would lie. Soon. On the 5th day, the clinic called. The results were ready. Chidinma arranged to pick them up in person, needing to see the proof with her own eyes before she called Ji-hoon. Park Dae-jung had texted that morning. Have the results come yet? Whatever they say, I hope we can all move forward peacefully. The man's kindness made her want to scream. She didn't want his peace. She wanted him to be wrong, to be exposed as a liar, to disappear back into whatever hole he'd crawled out of. The clinic was quiet when she arrived, just her and the doctor in a small office. The woman's face was carefully neutral as she handed over a sealed envelope. Whatever the results say, Miss Adebayo, there are resources available. Counseling, legal advice, family planning services. I won't need any of that, Chidinma said firmly. I know what this will say. But her hands shook as she opened the envelope. Her eyes scanned the technical language, the percentages, the cold scientific proof of biological truth. And then she read the conclusion, and the world stopped. Now I know you're all screaming at your screens right now. Before I tell you what those results say, I need you to do something for me. If you've been following this story, if you're invested in Chidinma and Ji-hoon, please hit that subscribe button. We're building something special here, and your support means everything. Okay, ready? Here's what the results said. Probability of paternity, 0%. Park Dae-jung was not the biological father. Chidinma's laugh came out like a sob. Relief flooded through her so intensely she felt dizzy. She'd been right. She'd been right all along. Park Dae-jung was a liar, and now she had proof. And she could show Ji-hoon, and everything would be okay again. She called him immediately. Ji-hoon, I have the results. Can you come to the penthouse? Please, this ends now. He arrived within an hour, his face carefully blank. Chidinma met him at the door, the envelope clutched in her hand like a weapon. You were wrong, she said without preamble. Park Dae-jung is not their father. I was right. I've always been right. She thrust the paper at him, watching his face as he read. Watching relief and something else. Shame, maybe, or regret flicker across his features. Chidinma, Don't, she said, her voice hard. Don't apologize. Don't try to explain. You doubted me. After everything we've been through, you actually believed I could do something like that? I didn't want to believe it, Ji-hoon said quietly. But the evidence? Evidence can be manufactured, a new voice said. They both turned to find a man standing in the penthouse doorway. He was older than Ji-hoon, maybe early 40s, with sharp features and cold eyes that held familiar calculation. King Sung-ho. It had to be. How did you get in here? Ji-hoon demanded, moving to stand between Sung-ho and Chidinma. Your security isn't as good as you think, Sung-ho said, stepping inside and closing the door behind him. Then again, you've been distracted lately. Understandable, given the circumstances. His eyes moved to Chidinma. Miss Adebayo, a pleasure to finally meet you. I've been watching you for quite some time. You sent the package, Chidinma said, understanding clicking into place. The surveillance photos. You've been planning this. Very good, Sung-ho said, almost approvingly. Yes, I've been watching and waiting and planning. You see, Ji-hoon here has a habit of taking things that don't belong to him. Business opportunities, territory, success that should have been mine. For years, I've watched him climb higher and higher on the backs of people he's crushed. So I decided it was time for him to understand what it feels like to lose something irreplaceable. Park Dae-jung works for you, Ji-hoon said flatly. Very good, Sung-ho repeated. Yes, Dae-jung is an actor I hired. Very convincing, wasn't he? Those photographs were created by a very talented photo manipulation artist. That story about the Lagos Hotel? Pure fiction. I needed something that would make you doubt, that would put distance between you and Miss Adebayo. And it worked beautifully. You bastard, Ji-hoon started forward, but Sung-ho held up a hand. I wouldn't, if I were you. Because here's the thing. That DNA test Chidinma just did, the one that proves Dae-jung isn't the father, that was real. But it doesn't prove you are the father either. It just proves he isn't. So the question remains, Sung-ho smiled, cruel and satisfied, are those children really yours, Kang Ji-hoon, or is there some other man out there, someone real this time, who has a claim to your happy little family? The implications hit like a physical blow. The test had only compared the children to Park Dae-jung. It hadn't confirmed Ji-hoon's paternity at all. They still didn't have proof. The doubt was still there, planted and growing like poison. You're insane, Chidinma said. Maybe, Sung-ho agreed. Or maybe I'm just someone who understands that the best revenge isn't destroying what someone has. It's making them destroy it themselves. He looked at Ji-hoon. You did that beautifully, by the way. All I had to do was plant the seed. You watered it with your own paranoia. Ji-hoon's face had gone pale. What do you want? Want? Oh, I already have what I want. I wanted you to suffer, and you have. I wanted your personal life in shambles, so you'd be too distracted to notice me taking over your business interests, which I have been doing these past 2 weeks. Your partners have been very receptive to my offers. Turns out loyalty is expensive, and I pay better. Sung-ho moved toward the door. I just came to tell you that you've lost. You can have your DNA test to prove those children are yours. I'm sure they are, honestly. Ms. Adebayo doesn't strike me as a liar, but it won't matter. Because you've already broken her trust. You've already shown him exactly who you are when things get difficult. And that, Ji-hoon, that's a wound that doesn't heal. He left as quietly as he'd arrived, leaving them standing in the wreckage of his manipulation. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Ji-hoon said, voice rough, I'm sorry. I know, Chidinma said. But sorry doesn't fix this. We can do another DNA test, a real one that proves I'm their father. And then what? Chidinma asked. Then we pretend the last 2 weeks didn't happen? Pretend you didn't doubt me? Pretend I didn't see exactly how quickly you'll believe the worst of me. I made a mistake, Ji-hoon said desperately. A terrible mistake. But Chidinma, I love you. I love those children. Please don't let Sung-ho win. Don't let him destroy us. Chidinma looked at the man she'd loved for years, the man she'd crossed continents for, the man who just spent 2 weeks doubting everything about her. I need you to leave, she said quietly. I need time to think, and you need to figure out if you can really trust me, because I won't spend my life proving myself over and over. I won't raise our children in a relationship where every crisis makes you wonder if I'm lying. Chidinma! Please, Ji-hoon, just go. He went, and Chidinma stood in the empty penthouse, surrounded by luxury and wealth, and a life that felt like it was built on sand, and wondered if love was really enough to survive this. Her mother appeared from the bedroom where she'd been with the children, her face grave. I heard everything. Then you know it's over, Chidinma said numbly. Is it? Adane moved closer, taking her daughter's hands. That man loves you, Noah. He's flawed, yes. He doubted you, yes. But he's also spent 3 years searching for you, 6 months rebuilding trust, and he just found out he was manipulated by an enemy who's been planning this for years. Don't make a permanent decision based on temporary pain. How can I trust him again? Chidinma whispered. The same way he trusted you enough to open his heart after 5 years of numbness, with time, with patience, with the choice to believe in love even when fear screams at you to run. Chidinma closed her eyes. She didn't know if she was strong enough for that. Didn't know if they were strong enough for that. But as Amaka called out Mama from the bedroom, as she heard Chidi and Ngozi's laughter filtering through the walls, she thought maybe she had to try. For them. For the family they'd built from broken pieces. But first, she had to figure out how to trust the man who'd just shown her that his love came with conditions, that his faith in her was fragile enough to break under pressure. She had to figure out if this was a relationship worth fighting for, or if sometimes the bravest thing you could do was walk away. 3 days later, Ji-hoon called. I did the DNA test, he said. On my own. Without telling you because I didn't want you to feel like I was demanding proof. I just needed to know for myself so I could kill the doubt Sung-ho planted. So I could come to you with certainty instead of questions. Chidinma's heart hammered. And? 99.9% match, Ji-hoon said, his voice thick with emotion. They're mine. Amaka, Chidi, Ngozi, they're all mine. Biologically, legally, in every way that matters, I have the proof now. I have the certainty. Good, Chidinma said, and hung up. Because proof wasn't the point anymore. The point was that he needed proof. The point was that love should have been enough, and it hadn't been. The point was that somewhere between Lagos and Seoul, between separation and reunion, between promise and doubt, they'd lost something essential. And Chidinma didn't know if they could get it back. But here's the thing, and I need you to really hear this. Sometimes the hardest part of love isn't the falling. It isn't even the breaking. It's the choice to keep showing up when every instinct tells you to protect yourself. It's the decision to be vulnerable again after you've been hurt. It's the terrifying, beautiful, impossible act of forgiveness. And Chidinma was standing at that crossroads, staring down both paths, trying to figure out which one led home. The next week passed in a strange limbo. Ji-hoon respected her request for space, but he sent flowers every day. Not expensive arrangements, simple flowers that she'd mentioned liking once in passing. Proof he'd been listening. Proof he remembered. He sent cards the children had made with him, construction paper creations covered in glitter and crayon that said, "We miss you, Mama and Daddy together," in Amaka's careful handwriting. He sent one message, just one. "I know I broke your trust. I know sorry isn't enough, but I'm not giving up on us. Take all the time you need. I'll be here." Chidinma wanted to stay angry, wanted to hold on to the hurt like armor. But then Gozi asked why Daddy wasn't sleeping at home anymore, and Chidi stopped laughing as much, and Amaka started having nightmares again. And she realized that Sung-ho had won after all, because they were destroying themselves from the inside. On the 8th day, she called Ji-hoon. "We need to talk, really talk, about everything. Sung-ho, the business, what happens next, but also about us, about whether we can actually do this." They met at a coffee shop near the Han River, neutral ground. Ji-hoon looked like he hadn't slept in days, his usually perfect appearance disheveled, but his eyes held something she hadn't seen before. Not just love, but understanding. Hard-won and painful. "I talked to a therapist," he said, before she could speak. "It was about trust issues, about how my past, the ambush, the impotence, the years of feeling broken, made me doubt good things because I didn't believe I deserved them. About how when Sung-ho's plan played on my deepest fear that you were too good to be true, I let doubt win instead of faith." "Ji-hoon," Chidinma started, but he held up a hand. "Please let me finish. I need to say this." He took a shaky breath. "The therapist helped me understand that my doubt wasn't really about you. It was about me. About the part of me that still believes I'm broken, that still can't understand why someone like you would choose someone like me. Sung-ho knew exactly what wound to reopen. He knew that making me question the children's paternity would make me question everything. Your love, my worthiness, whether any of this was real." "It was always real," Chidinma said softly. "From that first night in your mansion, it was real. I know that now. But for 2 weeks, I let fear convince me otherwise. And I'm sorry, Chidinma. Not just surface sorry. I'm gutted by what I did to you, to us. You came to Seoul. You uprooted your whole life. You trusted me with everything. And the first time we faced a real test, I failed." His voice cracked. "I failed you so badly." Chidinma felt tears building, but refused to let them fall. "Not yet. You did. And I don't know if I can just forget that, Ji-hoon. Every time something goes wrong in the future, I'll wonder if you're doubting me again. That's what Sung-ho took from us. The ease. The certainty. Now there's always going to be this shadow. Then we bring light to the shadow," Ji-hoon said, reaching across the table to take her hand. She let him. God help her, she let him. "We talk about it. We go to therapy together. We make a promise that next time someone tries to manipulate us, we come to each other first. We choose trust even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And what about Sung-ho? Chidinma asked. He's still out there. He said he's been taking over your business. What happens when he comes at us again? Ji-hoon's jaw tightened, that dangerous edge returning to his expression. I've been handling that. He thinks he's won because I've been distracted, but he doesn't know I've been 3 steps ahead. Every partner he thinks he stole, I let him have them. They were the ones bleeding money, the ones I was planning to cut loose anyway. While he's been congratulating himself, I've been fortifying everything that actually matters. That's not what I asked, Chidinma said. I asked what happens when he comes at us again, not your business. Us. Our family. The distinction wasn't lost on Ji-hoon. His expression softened. Then we face him together. No more secrets, no more handling things alone. You want to be equal partners? That means you get full access to everything. My business dealings, my enemies, my plans. No more protecting you by keeping you in the dark. That's all I've ever wanted, Chidinma said. And then, because she had to know, do you trust me now? Really trust me? Ji-hoon was quiet for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was raw with honesty. I trust that you love me. I trust that those children are mine. I trust that you're not hiding anything from me. But trust that I won't doubt again when someone plants seeds. Trust that I'm healed enough to not let my past trauma poison our future. He met her eyes. I'm working on it. That's the most honest answer I can give you. I'm working on it every day, and I'll keep working on it for the rest of my life if you'll give me the chance. It wasn't the answer Chidinma wanted. She wanted him to say, yes, absolutely, never again. But the honesty meant more. The admission that he was broken in ways that wouldn't heal overnight, that he was willing to do the work, that meant everything. I'm scared, Chidinma admitted. Scared that this will happen again. Scared that I'll spend the whole relationship proving myself. Scared that maybe love isn't enough. Love isn't enough, Ji-hoon agreed, and her heart cracked a little more. But love plus work, love plus commitment, love plus 2 people choosing each other even when it's hard, that might be. He squeezed her hand. I can't promise I'll be perfect, Chidinma. I can't promise I won't have moments of doubt or fear, but I can promise I'll fight those moments instead of letting them win. I can promise I'll come to you instead of pushing you away. I can promise that you and those children are the most important things in my world, and I will burn everything else down before I lose you again. That's very dramatic, Chidinma said, but she felt herself softening despite everything. I'm a dramatic person, Ji-hoon said with a ghost of a smile. You knew that when you agreed to warm my bed. That feels like a lifetime ago. It was a lifetime ago. We were different people then. You were hiding your feelings. I was hiding from feelings entirely. Look at us now. He gestured between them, sitting here, talking about therapy and trust and choosing each other. We've come so far, Chidinma. Don't let Sung-ho steal that from us. He already did, Chidinma said quietly. For 2 weeks, he stole it. And even now, sitting here, I can feel him between us. That's what I hate most. Not even what he did, but that it worked. That he found the exact crack in our foundation and drove a wedge into it. Then we repair the crack, Ji-hoon said firmly. We fill it with something stronger than it was before. We make sure that next time someone tries to break us, they can't, because we've already survived the worst of it. Chidinma wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe that trauma could make you stronger instead of just leaving scars. The children miss you, she said finally. Amaka keeps asking when you're coming home, and Gozi cries for you at bedtime. Even Chidi, who's usually so happy, he's been quiet. I miss them too, Ji-hoon said, his voice thick. I miss all of you. That penthouse feels like a mausoleum without you in it. I don't want to live like that anymore. Close but separated, together but apart. I want to come home, Chidinma. Will you let me? It was the question that mattered, not about forgiveness or trust or promises about the future. Just the simple, immediate question. Could she let him back into their daily life? Into the breakfast chaos and bedtime stories and mundane moments that made up a family? On one condition, Chidinma said. Anything. We do couples therapy. Every week, non-negotiable. Because I need a safe space to tell you when you're hurting me, and you need tools to handle your trauma responses, and we both need help learning how to be partners instead of just people in love. Done, Ji-hoon said immediately. I already found a therapist who specializes in trauma and trust issues. We can start next week if you want. You already found someone? Chidinma felt something in her chest unclench slightly. I found 3 someones. You can interview them all and pick whoever you're most comfortable with. This is about us, not me making decisions alone. He paused. See? I'm learning. Despite everything, Chidinma smiled. You're learning. They sat in silence for a moment, hands still clasped across the table, the Han River flowing past the window like time itself. Finally, Chidinma said, Okay. Okay? Okay. You can come home. Not because everything is fixed, because it's not. Not because I'm not still hurt, because I am. But because those children need their father, and because I'd rather fight for us than give up without trying. She looked at him seriously. But Ji-hoon, if you doubt me like that again, if you let someone manipulate you into questioning my loyalty again, I'm done. Not threatening, not negotiating, just done. I can forgive once. I can't make it a pattern. You won't have to, Ji-hoon promised. I swear to you, Chidinma, on everything I have, on everything I am, you won't have to. They left the coffee shop together, hands intertwined, and drove back to the penthouse where Chidinma's mother met them at the door. Adane took one look at the clasped hands and smiled. About time, she said simply. The children are in the playroom. They don't know you're coming, Ji-hoon. I thought you'd want to surprise them. Thank you, Ji-hoon said, and his gratitude was clearly about more than just the surprise. Adane nodded and disappeared into her bedroom, giving them privacy for the reunion. Ji-hoon and Chidinma walked to the playroom together, neither speaking, both nervous in a way that felt surreal. They were nervous to see their own children. That's what the past 2 weeks had done to them. The playroom door was slightly open. Through it, they could hear Amaka's voice, serious and determined as always. And then Daddy comes back, and we're all together again, and nobody's sad anymore. But when's he coming back? That was Chidi, plaintive and small. I don't know, Amaka admitted, but Mama says he will, and Mama doesn't lie. The absolute certainty in her daughter's voice broke something in Chidinma. Mama doesn't lie. While Sang-ho had been doubting her, their daughter had been defending her truth. While Sang-ho had been planting seeds of suspicion, their 3-year-old had been holding on to faith. Ji-hoon pushed the door open. Amaka's right, he said, his voice rough with emotion. Daddy's back. The chaos that followed was beautiful. 3 small bodies launching themselves at Ji-hoon, all of them talking at once, all of them crying and laughing and holding on like they'd never let go. Ji-hoon sank to his knees, gathering all 3 children into his arms, his face buried in their curly hair, his shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Chidinma watched from the doorway, her own tears finally falling freely. This was what Sang-ho had tried to destroy. This moment. This love. This impossible, beautiful family they'd built from secrets and misunderstandings and years of separation. He'd come so close to winning. But he hadn't. Not completely. Because here they were, broken but not shattered, hurt but healing, together again, despite everything. Amaka looked up from Ji-hoon's embrace, her serious eyes finding Chidinma's own. "Is Daddy staying this time?" "Yes, baby," Chidinma said, moving into the room and joining the pile of bodies on the floor. "Forever?" Ngozi asked, his small hand fisting in Ji-hoon's shirt like he was afraid to let go. "Forever," Ji-hoon confirmed, looking at Chidinma as he said it. "I promise." It was a promise built on hope rather than certainty, on commitment rather than perfection, but it was real, and it was theirs. And for now, that was enough. That night, after the children were in bed and Adane had retired to her room, Chidinma and Ji-hoon sat on the penthouse balcony looking out at Seoul's lights. Neither spoke for a long time, just sat close, shoulders touching, existing in the same space without pressure or expectation. Finally, Ji-hoon said, "I need to tell you something. About Sang-ho. About why he hates me so much." Chidinma had been waiting for this. "Okay." 10 years ago, we were both starting out. Both hungry, both ruthless, both willing to do anything to build our empires. There was a deal. A huge opportunity that would have set either of us up for life. We both wanted it. Ji-hoon's jaw clenched. I got it by stealing his research, his business plan, his pitch. Everything he had worked on for a year, I took and presented as my own. He lost everything. His investors pulled out, his partners abandoned him, his reputation was destroyed. It took him 5 years to rebuild, and even then, he never got back to where he was before I betrayed him. The confession hung in the air between them. Chidinma processed it slowly. "So when he said you took everything from him, he wasn't exaggerating," finished Ji-hoon. "I destroyed his life because I wanted success more than I wanted integrity. I was ruthless and cruel, and I didn't care who I hurt as long as I won." He looked at her. "I'm not that person anymore, but I was. And Sang-ho has every right to hate me for it." "Does that justify what he did to us?" Chidinma asked. "No. Nothing justifies using innocent people, using you and the children as weapons, but it explains it. And it means I owe him something. Not my family, not my happiness, but acknowledgement, an apology, maybe even some form of restitution." "You're thinking of giving him something," Chidinma said. It wasn't a question. "I'm thinking of giving him back what I stole. The original business I built my empire on. It was his idea, his work. I've made enough from it over the years. Maybe it's time to return what belongs to him." Chidinma was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "If you do that, will he stop? Will he leave us alone?" "I don't know," Ji-hoon admitted, "but I have to try. Because you were right, we can't live our lives waiting for the next attack, and maybe the only way to end a cycle of revenge is to offer peace instead of retaliation." It was a risk, a huge, terrifying risk. But looking at Ji-hoon's face, Chidinma saw something she recognized. The same determination she'd felt when she decided to tell him about the pregnancy. The same courage it took to come back to Seoul. The same faith that love could heal old wounds. "Okay," she said, "but we do it together. If you're meeting with Sang-ho, I'm there. Equal partners, remember?" Ji-hoon smiled, real and warm and full of love. Equal partners. They sat together as Seoul glittered below them, making plans for a confrontation that could either end the war or escalate it beyond repair. But they were making those plans together, and that made all the difference. Inside the penthouse, their children slept peacefully, unaware of the adult complications swirling around them. Unaware that their father was planning to face his enemy not with violence, but with something far more difficult: accountability and attempted redemption. Unaware that their mother, who had once fled across continents to escape heartbreak, was now standing her ground and fighting for their family with everything she had. Unaware that sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't not run from your past, but turn and face it head on, together with the person you love. The next morning, Ji-hoon made the call. "Sang-ho, we need to meet. Just you and me. I have a proposal." There was a long silence on the other end. Then, "I'm listening. Not over the phone, in person. Bring whatever security you want. We'll meet somewhere public. But this ends now, one way or another." Another pause. "Tomorrow, the cafe near Olympic Park, 2 p.m. Don't be late." The line went dead. Ji-hoon looked at Chidinma, who had been listening from across the room. He agreed. "Of course he did," Chidinma said. "He thinks he's won. He'll want to gloat. Let him gloat, as long as he listens to what I have to say after." The hours until the meeting crawled by with excruciating slowness. Ji-hoon prepared his proposal, legal documents, financial statements, everything he needed to prove he was serious about making restitution. Chidinma watched him work, seeing the determination in every movement, the resolve that came from finally choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. When 2 p.m. came, they drove to Olympic Park together. Sang-ho was already there, sitting at an outdoor table with 2 security guards flanking him. He looked relaxed, confident, every inch the man who believed he'd already won. "Gong Ji-hoon," he greeted them, "and Ms. Adebayo. How domestic. Did you bring the children too? Make it a family outing?" "The children are safe at home," Chidinma said coldly. "Where they'll stay, far away from your schemes." "Schemes?" Sang-ho's expression was innocent. "I'm just a businessman protecting his interests. If your relationship couldn't survive a little pressure, that's hardly my fault." "You hired an actor to claim paternity of my children," Ji-hoon said flatly. "You manufactured evidence. You deliberately tried to destroy my family. That's not protecting interests, that's revenge." "Revenge," Sang-ho mused. "Interesting word. Is that what you call it when someone takes back what was stolen from them?" "No," Ji-hoon said. "When someone takes back what was stolen, that's justice. What you did was cruelty. There's a difference." He pulled out a folder. "But you're right that I stole from you. 10 years ago, I took your work and passed it as my own. I destroyed your reputation and built my empire on your ideas. That was wrong. And I'm here to make it right." Sang-ho's expression flickered. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about giving back what I stole." Ji-hoon slid the folder across the table. "Those are the documents transferring ownership of 3 of my subsidiary companies back to you. They're the businesses I built using your research, your plans. They're worth approximately what you lost 10 years ago, adjusted for inflation and interest. Take them. They're yours." Sang-ho stared at the folder like it might explode. "This is a trick." "It's not a trick," Chidinma said. "It's an apology and an acknowledgement that what Ji-hoon did to you was wrong. You have every right to be angry, but what you don't have the right to do is hurt innocent people, me, our children, to get back at him. This is Ji-hoon taking responsibility. The question is whether you're capable of accepting that and moving on, or whether you're so consumed by hatred that nothing will ever be enough." Sang-ho opened the folder, his eyes scanning the legal documents. His expression cycled through disbelief, suspicion, and something that might have been grief. "Why now?" he finally asked. "After 10 years, why now?" "Because I finally have something worth protecting," Ji-hoon said simply. "Because I've learned that success built on other people's pain is worthless. Because I have children now, and I want them to grow up with a father they can be proud of. Because, he looked at Chidinma, because someone taught me that real strength isn't about being ruthless. It's about being brave enough to admit when you're wrong and strong enough to try to make it right. Sung-ho was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was rough. You destroyed my life. I know. You took everything from me. I know. And you think giving me some companies makes that okay? No, Ji-hoon said. Nothing makes it okay. But maybe it's a start. Maybe it's enough for us to end this war before anyone else gets hurt. Your revenge worked, Sung-ho. You made me doubt everything. You made me hurt the woman I love. You won. But do you feel better? Or do you just feel empty? The question hit its mark. Chidinma saw it in the way Sung-ho's face spasmed, in the way his hands clenched on the folder. I wanted you to suffer, he said quietly. I wanted you to know what it felt like to lose everything. And now I do, Ji-hoon said. For 2 weeks, I lost everything. And it was the worst 2 weeks of my life. Not because of the business, or the money, or the reputation, but because I'd hurt Chidinma. Because I'd let fear and doubt poison the only real thing I've ever had. You taught me what matters, Sung-ho. Was that the lesson you wanted me to learn? Sung-ho looked at the documents, then at Ji-hoon, then at Chidinma. Whatever he saw in their faces, the weariness, the hard-won unity, and the determination to protect their family at all costs made something in his expression crumble. I have a daughter, he said suddenly. She's 5. Her mother and I separated 3 years ago because I was so consumed with destroying you that I destroyed my own family instead. She barely knows me now, and I kept telling myself it would be worth it once I'd made you pay, once I'd taken everything from you, like you took everything from me. I laughed bitterly. But standing here now, looking at you two, you didn't lose everything. You still have each other. You still have your children. All I have is businesses I don't care about and a hatred that's been eating me alive for 10 years. So stop, Chidinma said softly. Take the companies, rebuild what Ji-hoon destroyed, and maybe use some of that energy to rebuild your relationship with your daughter instead of tearing down ours. Sung-ho closed the folder carefully. If I take this, we're done. No more schemes, no more revenge, no more targeting your family. That's the deal, Ji-hoon confirmed. And if I don't take it, then this war continues, Ji-hoon said flatly. But understand, I was holding back because I felt guilty, because I knew I deserved your hatred. But if you come after my family again, I won't hold back anymore. I'll destroy you so completely, you'll wish you'd accepted my apology today. The threat hung in the air, real and sharp. Sung-ho studied Ji-hoon's face and clearly saw he meant every word. You've changed, he said finally. The Ji-hoon I knew 10 years ago wouldn't have apologized, wouldn't have offered restitution. He'd have eliminated the threat. People change, Ji-hoon said, looking at Chidinma, when they have reason to. Sung-ho stood, tucking the folder under his arm. We're done. You have my word, I won't target you or your family again. But Ji-hoon, he paused. I don't expect us to be friends. I accept your apology. I'll take what you're offering, but I still hate you for what you did to me. That doesn't just disappear because you finally grew a conscience. I don't expect friendship, Ji-hoon said. I just expect peace. Sung-ho nodded once and walked away, his security following. Chidinma and Ji-hoon sat at the table, watching him disappear into the Seoul crowds. Do you think he'll keep his word? Chidinma asked. I think he wants to. Whether he can, time will tell. They drove home in silence, both processing what had just happened. It wasn't a perfect resolution. Sung-ho's hatred was real and might never fade, but it was something. A ceasefire, if not peace. A chance to breathe without waiting for the next attack. That night, after the children were asleep, Ji-hoon pulled Chidinma close on their balcony. Thank you, he said. For what? For not giving up on me. For fighting for us when I was too scared to fight for myself. for being stronger than I deserved. He kissed her forehead. I don't deserve you, Chidinma Adebayo, but I'm going to spend every day trying to be worthy of you. You are worthy. Flawed, yes. Human, absolutely. But worthy. She pulled back to look at him. We're going to be okay, aren't we? We're going to be better than okay, Ji-hoon promised. We're going to be happy. And for the first time in weeks, Chidinma believed him. 2 months passed. The therapy sessions were hard. Lots of crying, lots of uncomfortable truths, lots of learning to communicate in ways that didn't involve silence or assumptions. But slowly, steadily, they healed. The crack Sung-ho had driven into their foundation was filled with honesty and vulnerability and the daily choice to trust even when fear whispered doubts. The children thrived. Amaka started preschool and informed them that she was going to be a lawyer like the one who'd handled the business documents. Chidi developed an obsession with dinosaurs that consumed every conversation. Ngozi remained quiet but observant, already showing signs of inheriting his father's strategic mind. Adane slowly adjusted to Seoul, though she still missed Lagos's heat and noise. She and Ji-hoon developed an unlikely friendship based on their shared protectiveness of Chidinma and the children. Life wasn't perfect. There were still hard days, still moments when old wounds ached, but they were healing, together, and that made all the difference. Then, on a random Tuesday afternoon, Chidinma's phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Chidinma Adebayo? Yes, who is this? My name is Detective Park Min-ji with Seoul Metropolitan Police. I'm calling about Kang Sung-ho. Can you and Mr. Kang come to the station? There's been an incident. Chidinma's blood ran cold. What kind of incident? I'd rather explain in person. Can you come now? An hour later, Chidinma and Ji-hoon sat in a sterile police interview room, facing Detective Park. The woman's expression was grave. 2 days ago, Kang Sung-ho was found dead in his apartment. Apparent suicide. But the investigation revealed some concerning information. Ji-hoon's face went pale. What information? It appears Mr. Kang's hatred for you went deeper than business rivalry. Detective Park pulled out a folder. We found extensive files in his apartment. Plans targeting you, your business, your family. But the concerning part is this. She slid a document across the table. 3 weeks ago, he took out a life insurance policy worth $10 million. The beneficiary is his daughter, but there's a clause that doubles the payout if his death can be attributed to actions taken by you, Mr. Kang. The implications were staggering. You think he's trying to frame me for his death? Ji-hoon asked. I think he wanted to ensure his daughter was taken care of while having one final revenge against you, Detective Park said. The suicide was staged to look like murder. If we hadn't found his personal journals detailing the plan, you'd be under arrest right now. Chidinma felt sick. So even in death, he was still trying to destroy us? Not exactly, Detective Park said. Because here's the interesting part. His journals also contain a full confession to everything he did to you. The actor he hired, the manufactured evidence, the harassment. It's all documented in detail. And at the end, there's a letter addressed to you both. She slid an envelope across the table. Ji-hoon opened it with shaking hands and read aloud. Ji-hoon and Chidinma. If you're reading this, I'm dead. Probably by my own hand, though I've tried to make it look otherwise. One last attempt to destroy you, Ji-hoon. I'm not proud of that. The therapy I started after our last meeting helped me understand that my hatred for you was destroying me more than it ever hurt you. But I couldn't let go, couldn't stop planning revenge, even as I tried to rebuild my relationship with my daughter. That's addiction, I suppose. To hatred, to pain, to the familiar comfort of rage. I wanted you to know that I'm sorry for targeting your family. Chidinma and your children didn't deserve to be weapons in our war. They were innocent, and I hurt them anyway, because hurting you mattered more than being a good person. That's unforgivable. I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope someday you can forget me entirely. I hope you build a beautiful life with your family and never waste another moment thinking about me or what I took from you. That's the real revenge, Ji-hoon. Living well. Being happy. Loving people who love you back. You figured that out. I never did. My daughter's insurance money is paid for. That's all I could give her in the end. Not time, not presents, not love. Just money. Don't be like me. Don't waste your life on hatred. It's not worth it. Sung-ho. The room was silent when Ji-hoon finished reading. Chidinma felt tears on her cheeks, though she wasn't sure if they were for Sung-ho, for his daughter, or for how close they'd all come to that same darkness. What happens now? Ji-hoon asked. Now? Detective Park collected her documents. Now, you go home to your family. The case is closed. Sung-ho's confession clears you of any suspicion. His daughter will receive the insurance payout. And you, she looked between them, you get to live. Really live. That's what he wanted in the end. They left the police station hand in hand, stepping out into Seoul's bright afternoon. The sun felt warmer somehow, the air cleaner. Everything felt more precious, more fragile, more worth fighting for. He's really gone, Chidinma said. He is, Ji-hoon confirmed. And we're still here. They drove home where their children were waiting, where Adane was making dinner, where life was loud and chaotic and beautiful, where the past couldn't reach them anymore and the future stretched out full of possibility. That night, as Chidinma tucked the children into bed, Amaka asked, Mama, are you and Daddy okay now? Like, really okay? Chidinma smiled, thinking of everything they'd survived. Separation, doubt, manipulation, loss, thinking of how they'd chosen each other again and again despite every reason not to. Yes, baby, we're really okay. Good, Amaka said, snuggling into her pillow, because I don't like it when you're sad. I'm not sad anymore, Chidinma promised. And for the first time in months, it was completely true. She found Ji-hoon on the balcony later, staring out at Seoul's limits. Thinking about Sung-ho? Thinking about how easily that could have been me, Ji-hoon said. Consumed by darkness, alone with nothing but hatred keeping me warm. If you hadn't come back into my life? He didn't finish the sentence. Didn't have to. But I did come back, Chidinma said, taking his hand. And you're not alone. And whatever darkness you carried, we're healing it together. That's the difference between you and Sung-ho. You chose to change. He couldn't. I almost didn't, Ji-hoon reminded her. I almost let his manipulation destroy us. Almost doesn't count, Chidinma said firmly. We're here. We made it. And that's what matters. They stood together as Seoul breathed around them, two people who'd been broken and lost and found each other anyway, two people who'd faced manipulation, doubt, and external threats but chose love despite it all. Behind them, through the glass doors, they could see their children sleeping peacefully. 3 small miracles who'd brought them together, torn them apart, and ultimately given them a reason to fight for something bigger than themselves. The war was over, Sung-ho was gone, the threats had ended. But as Chidinma leaned against Ji-hoon's shoulder, feeling his arms wrap around her, feeling safe and loved and home, she thought about Seung-ho's daughter, about a 5-year-old girl who would grow up knowing her father had died, consumed by hatred, who would have money but not memories, wealth but not love. "We should do something," she said suddenly. "For Seung-ho's daughter. Set up a trust or something. Make sure she has more than just insurance money. Make sure she knows that her father's mistakes don't define her future." Ji-hoon was quiet for a moment. Then he kissed the top of her head. "This is why I love you. Even after everything Seung-ho did to us, you still have compassion for his child." "She's innocent in all this," Chidinma said, "just like our children were. She deserves better than to be defined by her father's choices." "Okay," Ji-hoon agreed. "We'll set something up. Education fund, therapy access, whatever she needs. We'll make sure Seung-ho's last act of love, that insurance policy, becomes something more." They went inside together, checked on their sleeping children one last time, and finally went to bed. In the darkness, Chidinma felt Ji-hoon's hand find hers. "I love you," he whispered. "Thank you for not giving up on us." "I love you too," Chidinma whispered back. "Thank you for being worth fighting for." They fell asleep like that, hands clasped, hearts beating in sync. Two people who'd survived the worst and come out stronger. But in the morning, everything would change. Because at 6 a.m., Ji-hoon's phone rang, his business partner, voice shaking, "Turn on the news, now." They stumbled to the living room, turned on the television, and froze. Breaking news scrolled across the screen. Business magnate Kang Seung-ho's suicide under investigation. Anonymous source claims murder plot. Kang Ji-hoon named person of interest. Exclusive evidence suggests rivalry turned deadly. Chidinma's blood turned to ice as the reporter continued. Sources close to the investigation claimed that while police initially ruled Seung-ho's death a suicide, new evidence has emerged suggesting foul play. Text messages allegedly sent from Kang Ji-hoon's phone, financial records showing payments to known criminals, and witness testimony from an unnamed individual who claims to have seen Ji-hoon at the crime scene.
So, my beautiful family, this is where our story pauses for now. Chidinma and Ji-hoon fought through manipulation, doubt, and betrayal, only to face one final threat from beyond the grave. Seung-ho's hatred ran so deep that even his confession might not be enough to save them from whoever is now trying to frame Ji-hoon for murder. Do you believe in second chances? Do you believe love can survive even when enemies refuse to let you heal? Drop a comment below and tell me, do you think Ji-hoon is being framed? Or is there something darker happening here? Your theories give me life, and I read every single one. And here's the real question. Do you want part 3? Because I promise you, what comes next will blow your mind. The truth about that mysterious anonymous source, the final confrontation, and whether Chidinma and Ji-hoon's love can survive this ultimate test, it's all waiting. If you want part 3, comment part 3 below. If we get enough love and support, I'll have it ready for you soon. And please, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're building something special here, and I don't want you to miss what happens next. To every single one of you who's been with me on this journey, from the United States to Korea, through heartbreak and healing, thank you. Thank you. Your comments, your likes, your loyalty mean everything to me. You make these stories come alive, and I'm so grateful for this beautiful community we're building together. Before you go, comment one word that describes how you're feeling right now after this ending. Shocked? Angry? Desperate for answers? I want to know.
And if you made it this far, you're a real one. Comment Han River so I know you watched until the very end. I love you all so much. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 3. Thank you for watching and stay blessed.